Daniel 7 is a nightmare for the Muslim, for the Jew who doesn't believe in the Trinity, and for the Jehovah's Witness if you understand it properly. What do I mean? Daniel 7, 9 to 10. Let's unpack it. Brother, read New King James. Daniel 7, 9 to 10.
I watched till thrones were put in place, and the Ancient of Days was seated.
Okay, now, you confused me.
Thrones.
I think that's a mistranslation. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. Your text should have said, I watched as a throne was set in place.
No.
A throne.
Thrones.
No, it said thrones. What, thrones is plural, right?
Yeah.
It's more than one, correct?
Yeah.
So wait, I saw thrones, more than one set in place, and the Ancient of Days took his seat. All right, continue.
His garment was white as snow, and the hair on his head was like pure wool.
So this Ancient of Days is appearing visibly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've heard this over and over again. Some of you are preaching to the choir. But it's good to hear things repetitively until it becomes second nature by the grace of God. Pay attention. Daniel is seeing the Ancient of Days visibly. He's even describing his hair. White woolen hair and a white robe. So it's appearing visibly, whoever this Ancient of Days is. Now finish it.
His throne was a fiery flame.
Okay, now again you misquoted. It should say his thrones, plural.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't say that, even though he said yeah. His throne, singular. But at the start of the verse, he saw more than one. You see why I'm taking my time to unpack it so you can see the clarity of the passage? So if the Ancient of Days only occupies one throne, and yet he saw more than one, that means there's going to be someone else sitting on that other throne. You understand where we're going with this? He saw thrones, plural. And the Ancient of Days took one throne. That means there's another throne for somebody else. Now continue.
Its wheels a burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. 1,000 thousands ministered to him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him.
So notice he's the only one seated. Everyone else in heaven are ministers who stand in attention waiting to receive orders from him. Did you catch that verse 10? Myriads upon myriads stood before him. They didn't sit before him. They stood in attention ready to receive orders from this one. So that means he's the only one sitting on a throne up to this point. But Daniel saw more than one throne. So if none of the inhabitants of heaven are sitting on a throne, and the Ancient of Days only occupies one throne, that means there's someone else who's about to show up to take the other throne to rule with the Ancient of Days. Who's that other one? You don't need to guess. 13 and 14. 13 and 14. Watch this. Here's the glory of Jesus Christ. 13 and 14. Daniel 7, 13 and 14.
I was watching in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man, coming with the clouds of heaven. He came to the Ancient of Days.
Well, how many is that? Count. Do your math. The Son of Man, one like a Son of Man. You know why it says like the Son of Man? Or your translation may say like a Son of Man? Because it means, although he has a human appearance, he's more than human. One like a Son of Man. Son of Man means human. And again, in Aramaic, it's bar inash. Right? We say that in Assyrian. Bar nasha. This part of Daniel is written in Aramaic. So the word is bar inash. Bar inash. In Assyrian, we still use that word today. If I say, I can't say to her, well, I can say that to her. Ziyawa bar nasha. What did I just call him? Bar nasha. What did I call him? No, not literally. Bar nasha means son of human. Bar nasha. What does nasha mean?
Human.
Human. So if nasha means human, what does bar nasha mean? Son of human. But when I say son of human, that's simply another way of saying human. Ziyawa bar nasha. Means, yeah, you're right. Literally it's son of human, but when you call someone a son of human, you mean he's human. So here Daniel's telling you, I saw a figure that looked human. Not because he's not human, he's much more than human. But when I saw him, he had the appearance of a human being. That's how he looked to me. He looked like a human being. And this human being was riding the clouds. And he rode the clouds to who? The Ancient of Days. Now you know from the New Testament who the Son of Man is, right? Does anyone know who the Son of Man who rides the clouds is from the New Testament? Let me remind you. Let me refresh your memories. When the high priest asked Jesus, don't turn there. Just stay in Daniel. I'll give you the reference. Mark 14, right? Mark 14, 61 to 62. Mark 14, 61 to 62. When the high priest told Jesus, I adjure you by the living God. Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed? Now remember what Daniel said? I saw one who looked like a son of man, riding, coming on the clouds of heaven, right? Approaching the Ancient of Days. When the high priest asked Jesus that, Jesus answers this, I am, and you shall see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power, coming with the clouds of heaven. See who he claimed to be? I am the one that Daniel saw. I am that Son of Man who rides the clouds.
Where is that?
Mark 14, 61 to 62. Mark 14, 61 to 62. So who did Jesus claim to be before the high priest? When the high priest said, are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed? He goes, yes, and even more than that. I am that Son of Man that Daniel saw riding the clouds of heaven. That's who I am. You know why that was a powerful statement against the high priest? Because this figure in Daniel is the king of all creation and the judge of all the earth. By telling the high priest, that's who I am, he's basically threatening him. You think you sit in judgment of me. The day is coming where you will see me on the clouds coming to judge you.
Amen.
That's who I am. So do what you must right now. Hand me over to be crucified. But you have a meeting with me. Because you will see me coming on the clouds. And when I come, it won't be a happy day for you. That's why he went berserk and said then he ripped his clothes. Do you know why he ripped his clothes? Can I take minutes to unpack that?
Yes.
He said, the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power, right? Who did he say that to? He said it to the high priest. If you don't know your Old Testament, you won't see why this was shocking for a Jew to hear. Because remember, they're not seeing God. To them, they're seeing a flesh and blood Jew, right? It's a flesh and blood Jew. And he's from the tribe of Judah, because we know his mother is Mary, and Mary's from David. The only one who could enter the most holy place was the high priest. If you read the Old Testament, if you read Exodus, Leviticus, specifically Leviticus 16, the temple had two sections. It had the holy place for the priests, and there was a curtain that divided the holy place from the most holy place. Behind the curtain was the Ark of the Covenant, the mercy seat. And during the first temple, behind the curtain, they also had golden jar of manna, right? The golden, because when God rained manna, it says that God had them preserve a golden jar of it and put it in the most holy place as a reminder for generations to come. This is how God loved your fathers and took care of them in the desert. So behind that curtain, I understand where I'm going with this. Behind the curtain, you had the mercy seat, the Ark of the Covenant, the golden jar of manna. You had Aaron's rod that budded because they were challenging his authority. If you go back and read the books of Moses, they say, well, hey, who made Aaron leader over us? And then God told Moses, tell them to come forward. Whoever staff buds, flower comes out, that's the one whom I appointed to be leader. And it says that Aaron's staff budded as a sign that he was appointed by God to rule with Moses. So they took that staff and they put it in the mercy seat. So notice what was behind the curtain. The staff that budded, the golden jar of manna, the tablets that God wrote with his fingers. It was there placed on the mercy seat. According to Leviticus 16, only the high priest could enter there only once a year. And he entered at his own risk. Take the time over the weekend and read Leviticus 16 in depth on your own. Once a year on the Day of Atonement, Leviticus 16, the high priest would have to wash, change his clothes, and he would have to enter with a sacrifice for him and the people. Only he could enter behind the curtain, and if God accepted the sacrifice, he could come out. If he didn't, God would kill him dead on the spot. Now here's the problem. If God didn't accept the sacrifice, he gets killed. Who's going to go after him? You can't. So Jewish tradition says they tied a rope to his ankle. Yeah, because they know they can't enter. They enter, they're going too. So if he went and they heard a boom, there goes another one. Seriously, they couldn't go. You understand how dangerous it was to enter the most holy place of the earthly tabernacle? Now what's astonishing about this? Write down these chapters. We won't have time to look at them. Write down Hebrews chapter 6, verses 19 and 20. About to put you guys to sleep on them. Hebrews 6, verses 19 and 20. Read all of Hebrews 9, Hebrews 6, 19 and 20. And read Hebrews 9, the entire chapter, and Hebrews 10, the entire chapter. According to those chapters and the New Testament as a whole, when Jesus rose from the dead, and then 40 days later, he physically, bodily ascended into where? The most holy place in heaven. According to Hebrews, the earthly tabernacle was designed after the heavenly one. So in heaven, there is a tabernacle. In heaven, there's a holy place and a most holy place. And in heaven, the most holy place is where you see God's actual throne and God sitting on it. Now understand where I'm going with this. You see how dangerous it was to enter the most holy place on earth?
Yeah.
How much more dangerous would it be for someone to enter the most holy place in heaven? And you see, on earth, the high priest would have to enter and come out, right? Now you're going to see why the high priest got upset. Jesus says, you as a high priest, you can only enter the most holy place once a year. You know where I'm going? I'm going to be seated on the mercy seat in the most holy place in heaven, because that's my rightful place. You can only enter the earthly one once a year, and you have to take off for your life. I'm telling you, I'm going to enter the real one. And not only will I enter, I'm going to take my seat there at the right hand of my Father. That's who I am. You see why he went irate? You, a flesh and blood Jew, you're claiming the prerogative to take your seat in the most holy place of all places, whereas I, the high priest, can only enter the earthly one once a year and at my own risk and peril? Who do you think you are? I am who I claim to be. God in the flesh, the Father's beloved Son. Now you appreciate the words of Jesus, right? Now you see why they went berserk. Because if he's just a Jew, they're right. He blasphemed, he should be put to death. But how do we know they were wrong? Because when they put him to death, he could not remain dead. He came back to life on the third day.